Excuse me, when you're riding in your autonomous Mercedes-Benz, do you prefer to sit forwards or backwards? Hey guys, I'm Dave Geisler. This is the Technophiles Newscast, and Mercedes-Benz has done something pretty interesting. They've created a concept car called the F015, or the F15. This car by Mercedes-Benz is very impressive. It is admittedly a concept car, but it did make its debut a few weeks ago at CES 2015. As it usually goes with concept cars, of course the car looks ridiculously awesome. But what I think is really interesting and conceptual is what's going on inside the car. So for starters, the F015 is an autonomous car, so it's a self-driving car. We talk about Google's self-driving cars on the podcast all the time, but really, there's a lot of companies that are getting into this technology. There's already a company that makes self-driving semi-trucks. Of course, Tesla said they're going to have what they're calling autopilot ready in a couple years. Mercedes-Benz is right there with everybody else. So fine, we're obviously not that far away from a future filled with autonomous vehicles. But it's important to point out that once cars are driving themselves, they don't really have to function like cars as we know them today. So what Mercedes has done is they've taken that idea and they've really run with it. The F015 is a car that can function on the road and be driven by a person. It seats 4 people. When it does go into its autonomous mode, the driver's seat and I guess the front passenger seat flip around 180 degrees and face the 2 passenger seats in the back, creating what Mercedes calls a lounge environment. Furthermore, there's a small table positioned between the 2 passenger seats in the back. When the front seats flip around 180 degrees to face the passenger seats, this table repositions itself to the middle of the car. You know, once everybody's sitting there facing each other, another thing that's kind of important is you don't want people to get car sick. So this vehicle has windows everywhere. In fact, the windshield kind of goes up to become also the sunroof. There's 4 doors on the car, but the back 2 doors are rear hinge, which means, of course, when people get in and out of the car, it creates this humongous space that people can just get in and out of this little room. I mean, it is almost literally a room on wheels. A very small room, but it's a concept car, so it probably won't exist in the real world. But the concepts that are being explored in this car, I personally think, should inform every single self-driving car going forward. I mean, I do. It is important to point out that as excited as I am about the interior of these vehicles kind of being reinvented, the exterior, at least in the beginning, still needs to reference a normal car form. And what I mean by that is it's still going to need headlights, it's still going to need rear blinking signals, because there's also, at least initially, going to be human drivers mixed in with these robot drivers. For the last 7-8 years, there's been kind of a rule about self-driving cars that at any moment a human could still grab a steering wheel and take control over the car. I know a year or 2 ago on the podcast we talked about the Google kind of taxi car that was built with no steering wheel at all and just had like a couple buttons that you would press, basically a pull-over button and like a go button. That was the first car that really kind of challenged this idea of not being in front of a steering wheel. I'm not exactly sure where the law is at this point, but we are seeing multiple cars that do not require people to have a steering wheel in front of them anymore. And the F015 is one of them. How do you guys feel about this? Would you be comfortable being in a car where you could potentially get some work done while you're driving to work, or play a video game, or talk and hang out with your friends while the car takes care of itself? I'm thinking I'm okay with it. But you let me know. Let us know down in the comments or tweet us at TechnophilesPod. Of course, you can also find us on our Facebook page by searching Technophiles, or go to our actual website, technophilespodcast.com. Okay guys, I think Tina's coming back on Monday, so we'll see you then. What's that, honey? No. I sent the car to pick up the kids about 15 minutes ago. I think they'll be back in 5 or 10. In the meantime, why don't we take a look at some of these other amazing videos that for some reason are around me in our house.